So we just watched some generic kids movie where Chris Pratt voiced some orange cat. They called him Garfield a few times. I don't think there's any relation, though, to the
I feel like this is one of those things where they took the property and the name, but it's sort of its own creation, so they've done a reboot in name only. I really think, they use Nermal well.
Nermal was spot on, except for Garfield apparently being really happy Nermal was there.
Garfield loves everyone.
Nermal, I guess we can only assume, is his best friend, just like in the Bill Murray movie.
Yeah, Nermal loves Garfield. Garfield loves Nermal. Why? And Garfield loves Mondays. And he loves Odie. And he loves John.
Garfield, you rescued me!
Well, someone has to do the shopping.
He's just full of love.
He loves Olive Garden and FedEx and Walmart.
You've obviously never been in an Olive Garden that's run out of breadsticks.
Step it up to Fresh Step.
And Pop Chips, and...
He especially loves Pop Chips. He bought his own brand of Pop Chips.
Yeah.
Say when? Never, John.
You can't even class this movie as a comedy, because there's barely any jokes to it.
This is a 2024 Garfield, and so... As the world has evolved, so too has the story.
I think it was telling that in the audience, kids did not react to this much at all.
No.
There was one or two polite chuckles, but it didn't even pander to that audience.
I get real tired of just, they make a crappy movie based on some property and it's a kid's movie, so it's allowed to be shit. And it's like, shut up.
He's become even lazier. If I don't make it back, tell my story. Even lazier.
You can't just be like, oh yeah, this can be garbage because we said it's for kids. This isn't for anyone. If anyone's a fan of Garfield, you're not going to enjoy this movie because he's not Garfield.
Come on, Odie. We have to go save my dad. Even lazier.
And Chris Pratt was a terrible choice in the first place, but if they gave him some more Garfield-like material, it would have helped a little.
I am the voice of Garfield.
That sucks.
But he's barely sarcastic at all in this whole thing. It's just like, I love John. I love Odie. I love my dad who abandoned me. Oh wait, no, he didn't abandon me. Let's have a heartfelt moment about that.
Yeah, that they telegraphed from the beginning, because you hear him say, I'll be right back, so you're like, oh, so Garfield just got impatient and left.
Wait here, Junior. I'll be right back.
And then that's what it was. It was like, okay.
Yeah.
But that's not much of
And there's
anything.
a long build up to that big reveal that he was coming back like he said.
Yeah, you were supposed to not see that one coming.
But, oh wait, when he said I'll be right back, he meant I'll be right back.
This was the worst Garfield movie. You know what that says? That the Bill Murray ones were better?
I feel good.
Bill Murray was a good choice for the voice, at least.
But they also had Garfield act like Garfield. I mean, there were
a little bit. There's a bunch of off things.
I know, Nermal.
He danced too much as well.
He danced too much, and they didn't let him be fully Garfield, but at least there were hints of it once in a while.
Yeah, he hit Odie in the face with a drumstick.
Yeah.
Read it, please.
He had the attitude for Garfield. I mean, this just didn't
Except
really
when
feel
he's
like...
singing, used to have John for myself.
I love John.
Used to have John to myself.
Just saw that movie and said, hold my beer.
Yeah. And they made John as boring as the Breckenmeyer version. He kind of sounded like Breckenmeyer with the voice.
Whoa, you are a hungry little guy.
They don't make John a loser, which is a big issue with any of these Garfield movies, because that's what makes John funny.
I see you are very successful.
Well, yes.
Strike one.
He can have the heartfelt moments. And same with Garfield. You drag them out of him eventually. You find it underneath his, I hate you exterior.
Yeah,
and then you're like, okay, okay. Then he eventually, shows that he actually cares for John and Odie, etc.
We really haven't lost anything, Garfield. We're still a family. We still have each other.
Big, fat, hairy deal.
They don't show any of that. They just show him, like, tucking him in.
Yeah, this movie, it's the surface level Garfield. It's just, I take care of John. I love you so much.
Yeah, that's really the plot of the movie, is that he wants to get back to the good life. And they keep playing the good life to show what a good life he has. And when he finally gets back to his good life, it's great. And then he gets his dad there, and they all have the good life.
Yeah, it's so weird. Just, I guess John adopts his dad, too, because Garfield brought him in. He's like, who's this cat? Oh, well, I guess maybe Garfield told him, because there's an app for that in this movie where it can translate cat into English, so who cares about anything? I know, it's always up in the air whether John understands Garfield or not, because there's sometimes Garfield says something to John, and John has to know what Garfield said for it to make any sense.
Hang a left, then a right, then another right, then a left.
Left, then right, then left.
But, it's always ambiguous. But there's never direct other animals talking to people most of the time. There's a few weird comic strips you're like, what world is this in?
Yeah, they kind of had a joke about that in this, where the evil cat calls the animal control dairy farm people, whatever.
Yeah, she just calls the head of security for the dairy place.
Yeah, and it's revealed that they can't understand her.
Mm-hmm.
But then they use an app, and it's like, you kind of killed the joke there, that they have an app where they can translate the animals, then it becomes not funny anymore.
I wish it was just the whole bit, and the cat calls and thinks she's saying anything to them, and they just hear meowing, and then there's some other way that they have to reveal that they're trying to do this heist and get them caught.
Okay, and then, there's a way to do that joke that would work. But all the jokes are kind of lazy, rambly stuff in this movie.
Vic takes Garfield along on this very epic outdoor adventure. Even lazier.
The thing that really struck me about it is that there's not a lot that strikes you about it. I thought maybe this was an Illumination movie, and it's
They
not.
definitely tried to get as close to that style
Yeah,
as they
it's
could.
basically a symptom of Illumination, kind of homogenizing kids' movies into the most generic things possible. They don't even have the dumb fart jokes that you associate with bad movies. It's just nothing. It's a screensaver of a movie.
It's a movie I felt like we've seen with other characters. Yeah. It's stupid.
The template of other animal movies like that.
It's so generic, and Garfield could be swapped out so easily for another character. I even thought that when we saw the trailers for this stupid movie, you have a few things that they can say to be like, I am this character. I love lasagna. Anyway, let's save the day.
There's not a whole lot we know about Garfield. Nice touch.
The way that he talks, it's like any other sarcastic character that,
but he's not sarcastic.
He's kind of sarcastic, but he's not
much.
Deadpan. That's what you associate with Garfield.
I'm Chris Pratt.
I am the voice of Garfield.
That sucks.
Yeah, I guess.
We're gonna need the big scale!
Does she need to announce it to the whole office?
There's just not really anything to it. It's not any, the delivery you would associate with Garfield. He doesn't do the things Garfield does. And then early into the movie, he's taken away from the Garfield plot that into this plot about his dad.
This is Vic, my father.
Huh? You didn't think I was gonna go look for him, did you?
And even in the intro, he's like, here's a story about a character you don't know. Intrigued? And it's like, no, we're not intrigued. We don't want to know about your stupid dad.
They told a story about Garfield's mom back when, and that was actually heartwarming.
Yeah.
Garfield, I love you.
I love you too, Mom.
But his dad, it feels so forced to try and make, you care about this, right? No, I really don't, actually.
Because they didn't make you care about this version of Garfield either.
No.
Follow my lead.
They barely gave us
establishing-
time with him. Like you said, it was just about Garfield taking care of John, tucking him in bed, and then all of a sudden that's the end of Garfield's normalcy, and we're thrown into this heist plot for this evil, big, white, fluffy cat.
Yeah, with a cow romance and stuff.
Yeah,
It's
the
like
cow
white-
romance.
Cowmance.
Yeah, stupid cowmance.
But all of these other things, if you don't see the scenes with Garfield in it, you don't even know this is a Garfield movie. And even the scenes with him in it, he looks like Garfield, but it doesn't feel like Garfield in any way.
Like you said, if you closed your eyes during a bunch of these scenes, you just hear him talking, which doesn't sound like a Garfield at all. And you're like, what is this? What am I watching?
Like if there was like
Garfield.
Life is pointless and nothing matters.
What makes Garfield Garfield? I.e., who is his biological father? There's not a whole lot we know about Garfield.
If there's a blind person going to the theater to see this movie, they're like, you took me to Garfield, right? Like, this was Garfield?
There's no hint of the dry wit that you associate with Garfield.
You saw nothing.
Strike one.
You must be looking for another gorgeous, lovable kitty cat.
Strike two.
We have to go save my dad.
Strike three, you're out.
I realize that this is a movie, so the format is a little different, but Garfield is built on 3 panels with a punchline, so you have a lot of really quick jokes, but this is built on a ramble until the scene ends, and it's like,
They did 7 seasons of a show where Garfield did more, but, you know, he still felt like Garfield. He tries to be funny about things.
Yeah.
Maybe I can call the Ghostbusters. Nah, their show is canceled.
John is a loser.
I know exactly where we are.
He doesn't even know what country we're in.
Odie gets kicked off the table and stuff. There's nothing even like that in here.
Yeah, Odie doesn't even get kicked off the table. It's like a love fest with Odie, who is basically the one that kind of sits in the background and solves things when Garfield's too dumb to do it.
Odie and friends.
Odie and friends.
They had this like super rambly comedy bit where they're planning their heist of the dairy place, and the cow has avatars for everyone who's doing the break-in, and he's like, "You're a roadkill, Garfield." And like, "Oh, but not really, right? No, you really are." "Oh, but I can't really be roadkill." "Oh, well, I didn't know you'd object to it so much."
Went on.
Shut up!
And they thought you were really gonna laugh at this cow, but then they didn't really set up a lot to make you laugh at the cow. I was like, okay.
It's wild, incredible action, even lazier.
The evil Persian cat, she wants revenge on Garfield's dad because they were in a gang together back in the day and she got caught and he didn't save her, and they were trying to rob the same dairy place. So she's like, I'll get you to rob this dairy place now, and I kidnapped your son to make you come save him because I knew you'd show up somehow, blah, blah, blah. And that's how everyone gets roped into this idiot plan.
And when the cows get together, they play Let's Get It On, a joke that you have seen many times.
It's got it all.
And this one's no different. It just
This
feels
is
dated.
one of them.
A lot of this feels dated. They keep showing like they have cat flicks.
He can sit back in his recliner and watch cat flicks.
They show a bunch of cat videos like you would see in the Lolcat days, or recreations of them like Piano Cat, and it's like, it just feels like they're not doing any variation on that. They're just saying like, Ican has cheeseburger? Is that funny? Like, okay. Like, I liked seeing real cats. I was like, 10 thumbs up for those real cats, but Garfield, thumbs down.
What's really extraordinary about taking an iconic character from the comics and putting him into a film is, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I know I'm doing it really, really well.
This is Garfield in this movie. Oh, were you expecting Garfield? Oh, you're getting me instead, fucko. I even danced a little bit in this movie. Anyway, let's order something off Walmart. And I know we'll have a bunch of drones save the day because I make a bunch of food orders and there's drones for all of them. They deliver to trains. That makes sense. Bad! Bad!
Oh no!
This is... I missed this guy.
Unfortunately.
I missed this. I feel good. Da-na-na-na-na-na. Let's get it on.
The Bill Murray Garfield movies are kind of legendary in how bad they are. I would rather that than forgettable mediocrity, because it's just sad.
Definitely a Monday. In this film,
There's an old saying in show business, the show must go wrong.
They also changed Garfield's eye color for this movie. He had green eyes in the Bill Murray one. Now they're brown. Whoa!
We didn't see one instance of the Carlisle jig.
You do the Carlisle jig? You guys like that?
Ever do the Carlisle jig?
You're a star. Feel good. I do that. Where you going? You can't leave the review.
Did you like the movie Garfield? Just to kick him off the table. This was Garfield watching the Garfield movie.
We replaced your Garfield movie with Garfield coffee crystals. How does that make you feel?
You son of a bitch!
What? You son of a bitch!
You no good son of a... And John is my witness!
Bandages.
How did you feel that your experience with the Garfield 2024 movie, Garfield? Angry.
Angry.
What a great review we've done.
Oh, this movie. It stinks.
and that's how I adopted John.
We are very close to the end of civilization.
This is the movie.
What else to say? It's just a generic kids movie.
I know, that's the sad part. I was thinking about the Illumination Grinch, where you're like, it's taken out any sort of life, any sort of personality, grit. What I say, it's a little toothless.
Yeah,
like Garfield.
This is Garfield. Like he has a little bit of edge to him sometimes. This is the problem that was in the Bill Murray movies. They kind of took that away, made him a bit toothless, and like, oh, just a funny dancy cat. Like, okay.
But he kind of looked scary, so.
Especially when this happened.
You know what? I feel like here's what best exemplifies how this doesn't get Garfield. When you see Garfield as a kitten, and we saw this in the previews, we saw the entire scene of how Garfield meets John. He is maximum cuteness, right? They've made this so that they can sell adorable plushies of the young Garfield and make everyone go like, ooh. Yeah. And Garfield is not cute. Garfield's not meant to be cute. He hates cute.
Hey, maybe we could have Nermal fill in for Garfield.
Hey, director, I think your headset's on too tight.
He hates Nermal, except in this movie, who shows up for 1 second and he smiles and hands a piece of cake to her. Or to him. Yeah. I always say her, but to him. Sorry to misgender Nermal.
I hope John has breakfast ready. Oh no, I can't do it. This isn't cute.
He hates cuteness and he hates Nermal, but not in this movie. Mm-hmm. By the way, kind of a mean thing to do when they're like, oh, let's make a poster with Nermal on it and say it's the Nermal movie and pretend like Nermal had anything to do with this film.
Yeah, this is like Nermal's just going to show up at the end for 2 seconds.
Oh, did you expect a Garfield character in Garfield? Fuck you.
Yeah. But don't worry. Yeah, Guillermo voicing Odie.
Just thinking about when they had George Clooney as the gay dog on South Park, but that was a funny joke, and here it's like they just will do anything to not have strictly voice actors in these anymore. It has to be a name to like the most inane detriment of the whole thing. Like, why? I wouldn't know that was the guy who plays Guillermo. I think he's hilarious, but it didn't matter if he fucking voiced Odie or not.
No.
It was like when Alvin and the Chipmunks were named people. You're not gonna hear the name voice actors. They're all gonna have the chipmunk voices. What's the point?
I wish it was just Greg Berger, because he's good at it and he manages to give Odie a little personality with his voice acting.
But they're like, eh.
That's pretty much the attitude. We could have tried here, but
They even managed to make Garfield not seem fat, because Dad's talking about how fat he is. Meanwhile, he's this giant character, so you've made him minuscule compared to most of the characters in this film.
We need to toughen you up.
When they're in the air ducts or whatever, they even make a joke about that, how it doesn't make sense in this movie. They're like, oh, you're bigger than me, why'd you fit through? Like, oh no, I guess you're fatter somehow. Good one. They do this whole heist thing on the threat of being killed by the Persian cat's goons, and then it's like
You're so tired.
They end up having Garfield and Odie get caught and sent to the pound, but the dad gets away.
Yeah, because the Persian cat really didn't want them to steal the milk. She wanted them to get caught.
Yeah, that's why she called in.
Because the dad abandoned her and then she got sent to the pound.
So her real plan was for them to get caught in the act, like Genesis Garfield. She catches him and then she goes, well, I guess it's time for plan B, which is throw you off a train and kill you. It's like, you could have killed him once you caught him at the beginning of the movie. Either you want him to suffer in jail or you want him dead immediately. You didn't need to do this whole long plan if you just want him dead immediately.
If she was just gonna call someone,
maybe I can call the Ghostbusters,
and hope that they understood what she meant. Why didn't she just call animal control and say there's a stray cat over here and have them grab him?
It's so stupid too when Garfield and Odie come back to her lair after they've taken the dad to throw him off a train, and they're like, wait a second, she has all these plans where she hates my dad. She wants revenge on him.
Yeah, they actually, this is a big revelation. Like, there's no turn in this movie that you don't see a million miles away, and if you didn't see it a million miles away, you saw it in the trailer, because they went like beat for beat to what happens in this.
The fact she wanted revenge on him wasn't even a remote secret, because she said, I want revenge on you, that's why you have to go steal this milk for me. It's just like, wait, she hates him and she wants other revenge on him than the revenge we thought she wanted.
Oh my god.
Wow, what a twist.
And then he's like, hey dad, I hate you because you abandoned me. He could have explained that in 2 seconds. He could have been like, I was coming back and then you weren't there. But he didn't. We have to wait through all this fighting in the movie where he could have explained it until they get to the point where he's like, hey, I went to go get some food and you went to this Italian restaurant. Wait, so the revelation is nothing? Okay.
You think he would feel bad until he actually properly explained this to Garfield, why he wasn't in his life, but he's like, kicking him out of a train and stuff. Like, you think you would have seen that coming?
Here's that stop.
Really? Where?
Alright.
I feel like we've talked more about it than it deserves. Most of it was about all this other stuff that didn't have anything to do with Garfield characters. Odie was barely there. Garfield didn't sound or act like Garfield.
You saw nothing.
It just was a generic kids movie.
The fact it was just Chris Pratt not doing any kind of voice. And when he did Mario, it was kind of covered up a little bit because there were better performances around him. But in this one, he's kind of more front and center. And you really notice that this isn't working, especially for this character.
Well, I feel like they had more flexibility with Mario to interpret him in that way. He did do kind of an accent. It wasn't as bad as we thought it was going to be.
It's kind of that Lou Albano take on the character with the Brooklyn Mario.
Yeah, so
which is fine.
They had that, but I feel like there's more flexibility because there are different types of Mario. Garfield's pretty consistent.
There's not a whole lot we know about Garfield
in the way that he acts, even if you get some pretty bad Garfields, like in the games and stuff.
I'm very angry with you, Garfield. If one more thing gets eaten, scratched, or shredded, I will put you on a diet. Odie, what have you done? John's gonna put me on a diet now, and I don't want to go on a diet.
It's still trying to be what were Lorenzo music, you know. He was the second voice of Garfield, technically, but...
Who was the first?
Oh, there was someone who did him in this special where Garfield's in it for like a minute or two.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sure you'll use clips from it.
Mm-hmm. A mouse! Get it! Garfield, you didn't even try.
Show me a good Mauser and I'll show you a cat with bad breath.
He really set the foundation of what Garfield sounds like.
I didn't really prepare. I read some of the Garfield books. There were 3 at the time. And I just realized that I understand this cat.
But even if you're not going to make him sound like that, there's still a way that Garfield acts and speaks that is signature to Garfield that's been that way since 1978.
Well, he didn't talk in 1978.
Well, since the 70s.
Since the actual first special.
Good morning, Odie. You're not gonna live to see your next birthday. You know that, don't you?
Wrong.
But what if he's in a spy heist movie thing? Thing is, too, those can work, but Garfield has to feel like Garfield, and he doesn't. But here doesn't come Garfield. So you better feel like you have to have the good life or something. What would you rate this movie? Agreed. Well, no, I thought it was pretty good. It's all about my dad. Hey, Garfield, it's me, your dad. I love Mondays and Normal. And John, and Odie, and Lyman. Lyman was in this movie. Good life, good life. The Lyman life. And Walmart. Cynical garbage. Meant to make money. And FedEx. Why the fuck was FedEx a sponsor? You can make 6,000 drone orders at once to a train.